I wanted to learn more about my golf swing, so I bought a Garmin launch monitor. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. You may have seen this. It's the Garmin Approach G80 GPS and launch monitor. It's actually a pretty innovative little product here. I'm not going to do a really detailed unboxing because I've actually been using it and I want to give you some of my thoughts. But obviously you get the most important piece of this. It's this little tiny handheld GPS device. But it also has a Doppler radar in it, I think. That's how it's getting the information about your golf swing. Now, I will say it is pretty small, despite the fact that it's kind of decently thick, half an inch, 3/4 of an inch thick. It's actually small in the hand and it's nicely contoured. It's curved on this edge, so it feels really good. Now, it actually feels a lot like the original iPhones to me. It's kind of like that 3G iPhone. It feels good in the hand and it's not overly big. That means the LCD on the front here is actually relatively small. I'd call it like probably about 3.5 inches. So it's not super huge, but it's big enough to get the information that you need. It also has white construction here, white plastic construction, and then this rubberized area here, and this little dimple right there is for putting in a golf ball. So when you use this as a launch monitor, you'll prop it up with a golf ball right there. You can also see there are some slots on the side here, and that is because it actually comes in the box here with a little carrier. So I think you can attach this, say, to your golf cart, your golf bag, your waistband, that kind of thing. It does come with a carabiner here, and it also comes with a micro USB charging cable. So on the bottom, we have a little plastic door here that opens up, and then you can get to the micro USB port right there to charge it up, and it charges pretty quickly. Now, there are two buttons on the side. This top button is the power button, and then this button right here is the radar on and off button. So if you just hold it down for a couple seconds here, it will power this sucker on. And it takes just about a minute to power up, but once it does, you get to this main menu here, and you can see here that it says start new round, warm up, tempo training, target practice, and virtual round. Now, I will say that the stuff down here I'm not going to go really into. You can use this like a little bit of a portable gaming device, and it'll say, hey, you're 130 yards to the green, and then you use the launch monitor to hit a ball at a driving range, and it'll kind of give you a game of playing golf. But I don't really care about that. Really, the launch monitor is the most important thing to me, and then the GPS map assistant on the course. So I will show you here tempo training. If I just click on tempo training, what you can see is it goes boom, 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 and that's all it really does. So all you're supposed to do is work on your tempo there, I believe. Now, the next thing, and I think the thing that intrigues most people about this, is the golf launch monitor. So if we go right here to warm up, it will go into this screen, and what you can see here is it says estimated carry and roll. You kind of scroll through that to say also estimated carry. I actually like that because I'm not so concerned about the roll. I want to really know how far the ball is flying when I hit it. And then down here, it'll show you club head speed, ball speed, smash factor, as well as tempo. So for me, it's not only just the carry, but how am I hitting it? How fast am I swinging it? Here, the club head speed, and then how efficient is that hit? And that's going to really tell me, hey, do I need to work on my club head speed? Am I hitting it square? Am I hitting it in the sweet spot? That kind of thing. And you can also see how far it's going. Now, this is really important, actually, because if you want to gap your clubs, you want to find out how far you're hitting your 5-iron consistently. A lot of us just estimate it. Sometimes we overestimate it just a little bit. And so this is going to keep us pretty honest. And I think this is going to be a great driving range companion so that you can not only hit at the driving range and work on your stroke and work on your club head speed and feel and everything else, but also really know how far these balls are flying. So the question is, how accurate is this? So let me show you. So I've been using this Garmin G80 Approach here, and I want to give you my final thoughts on it. First of all, let's start with the bad things about it. The bad thing about this, and the worst thing about it, and that's not that bad really, is really the brightness of the screen, in my opinion. For me, it's just not as bright as it could be. Even when I go in and I change the settings all the way to the max brightness, you know, it's still pretty dim, especially when you compare it to pretty much any modern cell phone. And so if it had a brighter screen, especially when you're out in direct sunlight, I think that would help. Or they could actually go to like a color e-ink screen that might be very power efficient, and since, as far as I can tell, you're only golfing in the light, I think that e-ink screen would be perfect too, and would probably keep the battery stocked for a very, very long time. Now, I will say that what they're doing with the screen here and kind of balancing the entire device, they're doing a really good job of battery management. So, for example, I went to the driving range for about an hour when I realized I was approaching my tee time, and then I played 18 holes with this. So I used the I use the radar and the launch monitor for an hour, and then I use this for about 4 hours to play 18 holes. And when I was done, the battery, which you can see here, says 80%. So you can get a lot of use out of this little device on the battery, so that's pretty good. The other thing that I would say is good, but has some caveats, is the accuracy. So I took this not only to the driving range, and I wanted to hit it and just kind of see how far my shots were going to my eye and to the signs against the Garmin. Then I took it to the simulator to see how this compared to a much higher end launch monitor. And what I would say is that I think, where the discrepancies are coming from. So I would say that when I was at the range, they seemed about right. If I was hitting it about 155, this would say about 150. And so 5-6 yards off was probably not a big difference. The problem is I'm not getting really good accurate distances by just kind of reading the signs. So that's why I took it to the simulator to see what a good launch monitor would say. And what I realized is that there would be some pretty big differences, almost 10 yards on some of these. And what I think is happening here is that it's only measuring the launch of the ball. It can't tell if your club face is open or closed, or if you have side slip or side spin and you're slicing and hooking it. And obviously those are going to affect the distance quite a bit. And so when this was showing me, hey, 156, and the simulator was showing me 147 because I sliced it hard, I don't think this is taking it into. Keep that in mind. If you are hitting perfect shots and just kind of sending them right down the middle, then I think the accuracy is going to be better with this. But obviously, if you are all over the place like me, you might have some issues with it being, spot on. But I think in general, it's very, very good, and it can really help you gap your clubs too. Now, in summary, I actually think the best part of this is not necessarily the launch monitor. It's kind of nice to have that when you're at the driving range, do a little bit of training, just doing a little bit of dialing in your shots, looking for consistency, swing tempo, those types of things. But to me, the best part about this is going to start a new round on this sucker and opening it up and going into a golf course and using it like a digital scorecard. So a lot of times, not only is it nice to see a bird's eye view of the hole, but then to be able to drag it around, like I said, and know not only how far is it to, say, some water hazard, but how far is it to clear it? How far is it to the bunkers? All of that kind of information, which is partially available on, say, the diagram on a scorecard, but now you can kind of drag your finger around the pointer and really get accurate distances. So here I am on the first tee, and I've pulled up the first hole here. You can see it's a par 4, but we have some water out there. So the cool thing about this is if I tap on it, what we can do here is I can drag around this little pointer to show me how long it is to actually carry some of the water potentially. Looks like if I lay up to the water, it's 214. To carry the water, you can drag your little pointer up there. You're gonna need to hit a 263. So I can't do that, but I think if I hit an easy driver off the tee, I should be safe from the water. So let's do that. But it's just kind of cool. You can make some adjustments based on what obstacles you have out there, as opposed to just rangefinder. Something like that might tell you how far away from the water you are, but it won't necessarily tell you what it will take to clear it. So it gives you some more detail here, which is pretty cool. And then I also like, actually, if you hit this top button right here, it'll lock the screen. So when you put it back in your pocket, you don't have to worry about inadvertent taps or anything, and then you just tap it again to unlock it. That's pretty cool. And a short little par 3 here. The pin is way on the right side, and what it's saying here is it's 159 to the center of the green. But the nice thing about it is I can actually drag it to where the pin is, and it's going to play like 163. So it's kind of cool. You don't have to just go by the placard at the tee box. Ball, green, and this says 112. I think that's actually the most valuable feature to me. It means that I can go on pretty much any golf course. You can go on vacation, hit up a new golf course around you and have a lot of the information that you need to really optimize your game around it. The other thing that I would say and to consider is that I believe it's the Garmin Approach G80 is basically a smaller version of this device with just the GPS and the golf course maps. It doesn't have the launch monitor. And so if you wanted to spend, say, less than $200 instead of the $400 plus for this, you could just get that. And I think that would be an awesome companion for using on the golf course. Now you might be saying, Pete, my cell phone has golf maps. I can download the Tag Heuer app or the Grint app or something like that. And I would say absolutely. Probably the only advantage to this over something like the phone-based GPS apps is that I can hit this little button right up here, lock the screen, put it in my pocket, pull it out, and unlock it and look at it again. And it's always running, it's always up, the screen's always on, and I don't have to unlock my screen and let it face recognize me and open the app or whatever it does. So I know that this was actually really nice sometimes when I just wanted to quick get a yardage measurement, and I knew I could pull it up and I wouldn't have to do any fussing around with the controls like I would on my smartphone. So I think this thing is actually really nice. For $400 you get both the GPS feature as well as the radar feature. It's pretty awesome. Hey, if you want to pick this up, I'll put a link to it in the description below. Peter Von Panda out.